Just like having the right information is necessary to make solid hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
State Systems is focused on protecting life and property. As a local, privately owned company, our foundation was built on providing all businesses with complete fire and security protection and infrastructure cabling. State Systems is proud to be a part of the Mid-South community and a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
Additional funding for the Spark provided by Christian Brothers University and Power & Tel.
This month on The Spark, our theme is a safe home. We'll learn more about a Christ-centered organization with 2 Mid-South campuses that's serving and offering a year-round home to around 100 children. We'll discuss a nonprofit helping to transform inner-city neighborhoods by utilizing volunteers to renovate and repair homes, and we'll explore a team of environmental scientists and professionals who are working to ensure the safety of our homes and businesses while protecting and giving back to our community. Have you ever been excited by a new idea? Inspired by watching someone lead by example? When we talk about creating change, we start by sharing the stories of everyday heroes who are making a difference in their own way, so we can learn and do the same. This truth is the power behind this show, which is focused on business and community leaders that are leading by example to give back, fuel change, and create new opportunities for the Mid-South. I'm Jeremy Park, and this is The Spark. They're a Christ-centered organization providing a year-round home to more than 100 children here in the Mid-South through 2 campuses. I'm here with the president and CEO of Palmer Home for Children, Drake Bassett. And for starters, let's go with history. Give us some historical context for Palmer Home for Children.
Palmer Home for Children has been in place for 120 years. It began in Columbus, Mississippi, when a number of concerned citizens, Christians particularly, coordinated with all the churches in the area to care for the children who did not have a home.
And so at this point, there's 2 campuses, more than 100 children, correct? And it's
That's
not just from the Mid-South, they're coming from all over the nation.
Well, that to me is one of the great things about Palmer Home for Children. The doors have always been open and open to any child across the United States, particularly, and we've taken children even from outside the United States. So I think the exciting thing is that we do have children, not only from this Memphis area, which has a need, and also from Mississippi, but children from Texas, children from California, children from the Northeast. We're in a position to take them in, and we do.
And talk about we say Palmer Home for Children, and so there's a home dynamic, but there's also cottages as well too, correct?
There are. Originally Palmer Home was in fact a single facility, a single building which still stands today. It was built completed in 1898. But in the 1970s, the decision was made by the board that it would be great if we could provide a home that feels more like a home. That in fact is what stands today. We'll hope to build 4 more on the Hernando campus this coming spring. But the home environment allows us to interact more closely with children, allows them to feel like they've got a family environment. They sit at the tables each night and pray. They have a bedroom where they can put their things and they can feel like, I'm part of this family.
It's my home, absolutely.
That's right, it's my home.
And so describe, they're going to school, they're playing baseball, they're doing their homework. This is very much the unconditional love, support, home environment overall.
It is, and we often talk amongst ourselves and realize that we simply can't replace what may have been lost. We understand that, and I think children actually understand that pretty well too. But our desire is to create an environment that fosters all of those important components of a child's development, allowing us to pay attention to those different needs that matter in a home setting.
And what's the end goal? When you look at the child that steps in and is a part of the Palmer Home experience, what's the end goal? I know it's a little different for each one, but ultimately, what are some of the end goals?
Well, great question. Because we pay attention to very specific needs right now, but really we're really looking at sort of a 20-year sort of test. We would love for a child 20 years from now to be able to look back and say, when I was at Palmer Home, my days, my reasons for being there may have been complicated, may not have been easy. But what I learned at Palmer Home, I learned about my faith, I learned how to work, I learned to take responsibility, I learned that there were people in the world who can care and do care for me, and I'm pretty good because of it. I enjoy talking to people who've grown up at Palmer Home, many years later, they come and they'll talk with us and they'll say, you know what, I learned those things at Palmer Home and I'm forever grateful for it.
Well, speaking of volunteerism, so going in and serving meals, we have a lot of friends and family that serve, and they love interacting with the kids. And so it's mealtime is a good one, homework and tutoring,
That's right.
Playing games,
Yep.
taking them out and going to sports events and things like that in the community festivals. What are some ways that we as the public can help volunteer and be a part of your efforts?
Well, I appreciate that. I always encourage people certainly to keep in touch with us. Keep up with all the different things that are going on. Pray for Palmer Home. Certainly be involved. If you want to be involved financially, that's fantastic too. But you can get closer to it. You can work on the campuses. We do have volunteer opportunities to come over and help with the facilities. I like it when people get involved with the children themselves. I think that is where it really resonates, because you begin to know children, begin to see children, and we do have ways that you can get to know children, work with children, and in fact possibly be a sponsor of a child, where you can take care of a child for a holiday period, or you can see them once a month and maybe take them to a sporting event or get to know them, or come see them at their events. Those kind of connections really resonate with children.
Talk about Jonah's Journey.
Jonah's Journey is a fantastic mission that we got involved with about 1.5 years ago. Works directly in the prisons, helps women who are in prison, who are expecting or having children, and when they have that child, the question is, where does the child go? Well, we want to intercept that moment. We want them not to feel like their only option is to turn it over to somebody they don't know or turn it over to the state. We want to build the relationship and build the credibility and offer to care for that child and keep that child connected to the mother. So we're doing that right now for nearly 50 children.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's extremely important when you think about that bond and having the ability after, or knowing that right as soon as you get out of prison, you can get your child back. It's
Well,
huge.
already things are upside down for someone that's in prison, and they know that. They have to accept the consequences of their choices. Their greatest fear is that they're going to lose touch with their own child, and it runs really deep. And I love that we are able to keep the mother and the child connected, and their circumstances may not allow for ultimate reunification. It really depends on their circumstance, but we will do everything we can to care for the child and keep them connected to the mother.
And so talk about your work in trafficking. That's important as well.
Yeah, trafficking is a miserable area. Most children, 40% at least of situations where children get involved in trafficking are connected, believe it or not, with their own families. Poverty drives some of this, and there are people who have different needs for different reasons at different times, and they wind up trafficking their own children. Palmer Home is looking very closely at how we can do some things to help that space. We are partnering with a number of organizations that rescue children. We are in a great position to help restore children. And so we're going to work closely this year with 2 or 3 organizations that are, in fact, on the scene in those situations, bringing children out of trafficking, and we will work to help and care for them.
And then describe the Whole Child Initiative.
Well, the Whole Child Initiative I love it because it's homegrown. It's basically you and I sitting there looking and asking, what are the basic things that children need? And they are this. They are educational, they're spiritual, they're emotional, they're physical. So those 4 things are part of our initiative to say, here's a child that's just come into our care. It's like, to me, it's like going into the movie. I don't like to be late for movies, because if you show up late to movies, you don't know the story.
Right?
You missed the story. So when you have a child that comes to you and they've lived several years of their life and you don't know the full story, you have to have a lens that you use to look at a child and say, all right, how are they doing educationally? They might have missed a couple of years, and we're going to help address that. Physically, what are their needs? Some of our children have never been to a doctor. They've never been to a dentist. They need the kind of care that will help them develop physically. Emotionally, of course, their history is complicated, and so we want to put all the resources around those 4 key areas that will allow a child to succeed. That's our initiative. It's a push. It's a proactive approach to care for child. In fact, in January 1st, we're going to launch a website, wholechildinitiative.org, that allows anybody to participate in that conversation, gather insights that we find and insights that they might have. We're all about caring for those 4 particular areas.
Well, the last part is tell viewers where they can learn more about Palmer Home for Children.
Well, palmerhome.org is a great place to go, and I would encourage people also to go to wholechildinitiative.org to sign up for those email updates. But either one of those websites are great.
Well, I greatly appreciate everything you're doing here in the Mid-South. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Jeremy.
a team of environmental scientists and professionals protecting our homes and businesses while giving back to our community. I'm here with the president of Tioga Environmental Consultants, Maggie Strom. You have a personal tie to Tioga in terms of naming the company, being the president, obviously. Give us a little bit of history, though, for Tioga Environmental Consultants.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We started 6 years ago. And when we started, I was told I got to name the company, and so I, thought about it real hard, did a lot of research, looked all around, and I just really sort of kept coming back to my roots, coming back to growing up. I grew up in New Jersey, but every summer our only vacation really was camping on our land in Pennsylvania. My parents owned 58 acres of land in Pennsylvania from about the time I was born, and we just spent pretty much every summer there. And now we still go back there. Every other year we go back to the East Coast with my kids, and we just spent a week on the property there with my mom and dad this year.
That's Tioga County,
and it's
correct?
in Tioga County, Pennsylvania. And so, that's how we got the name, and kind of that's how we got started.
So give us an idea of everything you do, because I know it's a lot, and especially when you talk about being consultants and working with the environment, but give us kind of an a la carte menu, if you will, of some of the different things you do.
Yeah, what's neat is we get to work with all kinds of different entities. From manufacturing and industrial facilities, we do regulatory compliance, help them with permitting and record keeping. We work with bankers and lawyers with property transactions as they're trying to help a buyer figure out if this property they're looking at might be contaminated. We do those investigations looking at the history and the conditions of the property. We do a lot of that subsurface investigation where we're looking at actually testing the soil and groundwater for contamination, and now we're working to actually do the planning to remediate that. So looking at methods to clean up the soil and groundwater.
What are some of the things you're looking for when you're doing the testing?
Oh yeah, no, a lot of times it's old gas stations, so there's a lot of old gasoline or diesel in the soil and groundwater, and then we're looking for volatile organic compounds, and so stuff, old cleaning solvents, old cleaning solvents from manufacturing operations, heavy metals, those kinds of things.
Wow.
And so, we're now testing that a lot. We're doing a lot of that remediation work. And then we also do kind of technical services where we are testing for lead-based paint in homes and businesses. We're looking for asbestos, so we're checking commercial properties before there's a renovation, and we're doing a lot of mold and indoor air quality testing, making sure that conditions in a space, whether it be a home or commercial property, are safe for the occupants.
Well, the theme is a safe home, so let's start there. Talk about lead-based paint, because obviously that's a big buzzword when you talk about lead-based paint and what that means and safety issues, but what is the safety issue there, and then what are you looking for when it comes to lead-based paint?
Sure, yeah. Anytime there's a house that was built prior to 1978, there's the potential that lead-based paint was used, and that's especially harmful for children. It does affect brain development, and so when you have a home that's that old, you want to be checking it to make sure that you're not, you don't have a lead-based paint hazard for those kids. And so we do a lot of inspections in the state of Mississippi, Kentucky, and Tennessee for housing and urban development on those pre-1978 homes, and then we work directly with the city of Memphis. They have a lot of grant money to actually do the complete cleanup of those homes in the city, and we've been working with them for the whole 6 years that we've been Tioga. We do the inspections for them, and then they know whether they have to change out windows or whether they have to paint a porch, and then that remediation work gets done cleaning those homes for those kids.
And that way it's safe.
Exactly.
Talk about indoor air quality, mold, that's a big one too.
Yeah, no, especially here in the Mid-South, there's all kinds of opportunities for mold, but most importantly, when there's a leak, like a roof leak or a plumbing leak, you have the potential very quickly, because it's so humid here, to start getting some mold growth in a house. And we work with contractors. We'll be maybe testing the home in advance, help them figure out and identify where the problem areas are, and after it's remediated, we can come in behind, do the testing to make sure that all the mold is gone, then it's clean for the occupants.
Obviously you can see it usually with mold, right?
Yeah, you can see it or smell it, but sometimes it's hidden behind the walls, and so we have some special equipment to look for it.
So what are some of the things when you talk about asbestos, but when you talk about just being a homeowner, being safe, obviously lead-based paint, looking for mold, asbestos is a big one, but taking care, being good stewards of our environment, so making sure you're not throwing away the plastic water bottles and litter and all that, because it gets in the groundwater, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everything that we can do to protect our environment is very helpful. We have a lot of great resources here in the Mid-South, and we want to protect them. Specifically, I'm very keen on the water resources we have. We do have the cleanest water in America. It's amazing. I've lived all over the country, and we have great water, and it's important that we protect that. And we can do that every day, you know, not littering, you know, doing your recycling, you know, just as everyday homeowners. We have a lot of great resources here for household hazardous waste. All those chemicals and stuff, don't just spill it in the backyard. Please don't dump it down the drain. We have ways to dispose of these things. It's really easy to look it up and do the right thing.
I want to switch gears a little bit, because you being a woman-owned business, you have a team with very young children, and the thing that I appreciate is that you put family first. So you allow them, if they have a sick child or if there's a play that their child is going in, you give them the freedom and the flexibility to go be with their family. Talk about just, you know, being a mother yourself.
Yeah.
Talk about the family dynamic of Tioga.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about it the other day, and we have 10 employees, and there's a total of 8 kids associated with those employees, and there's 6 kids that are 3 and under. So we have a lot of little kids. I have the big kids, actually, and so, you know, personally for me, it's great working in a consulting firm, because I can arrange my schedule a little bit and be there to pick my kids up after school when they need to be picked up, get them to sports, get the homework done. And it's important for me to be able to kind of pass on those things to my employees. When there are sick kids in our team, sometimes they're at the office, sometimes the parent's working from home, but we have that ability, and a lot of our work is kind of flexible like that. They can travel with the needs of that parent and be able to kind of work in a flexible world.
It's so rare that you find companies that say, you know what, we're going to allow you, the family does come first. It's not, we're going to work you over here and we expect you to be here within this, you know, strict time. Is,
yeah.
You know, whether it's with their family or even out serving in the community, volunteerism, giving back, you allow your team to be able to have that flexibility
Sure.
to go invest and reinvest with their family in the community, and that's huge.
You know, and we sort of lead by example. Larkin and I have had our kids out at the River Warriors doing cleanups, and that's a great thing to be able to bring the kids almost to work somewhere else and be able to get them involved in those kinds of things. But yeah, it's important to us, especially to be able to take care of the families, and so we're very appreciative that we work in a business that we can do that.
What would you tell, you being a female, an entrepreneur, a woman-owned business, what would you tell other entrepreneurs, especially women, that have a dream, that want to start a company? What would you tell them as advice?
Oh, just do it. I mean, it's totally possible. It takes a lot of hard work, but you know, it's doable, and you can do it in such a way that you don't disrupt too much if you work hard at it.
Nice. Well, tell viewers where they can learn more about Tioga Environmental Consultants.
Oh, you can learn more at www.tiogaenv.com.
Well, I greatly appreciate all you're doing to protect our businesses, our homes here in the Mid-South, and to give back as well. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeremy.
They're working to transform neighborhoods here in the Mid-South. I'm here with the Executive Director for Service Over Self, SOS, Philip Walkley. And for starters, give us a little bit of the historical context for Service Over Self.
Yeah, Service Over Self, SOS, started back in 1986, so we're actually getting ready to celebrate our 30th year of ministry. Was started out of Christ United Methodist Church right here in Memphis. They were sending the youth group all over the country to do mission work, and a couple of guys in the youth department realized, you know what? There's a lot of need right here in our own city, and we want to, as a response to Christ's love, see how we can address some of that need right here in Memphis. So that was 30 years ago. A couple of churches repaired a couple of homes, and now to where we are today, we've repaired hundreds of homes in the city with tens of thousands of volunteers over the 30-year history.
Because every year you're bringing in thousands of volunteers from all across the nation to Memphis, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So our model is that we work with low-income homeowners to make critical needs repairs on their homes, and we do that all with volunteers through essentially an urban home repair camp. So kids are going to go to summer camp. Church groups come to Memphis for camp, basically. They come to Memphis, stay with us for a week, and they come from all over the country. Florida, New York, Montana, Texas, anywhere in between. And even right here in Memphis, a lot of churches or schools send groups to come either in spring break or in the summer to spend a week with us. It's mostly college students or high school and middle school students. Probably about 2,000 volunteers a year to come and actually do that repair work. So.
And they're staying, you have a building that houses most of them, correct?
Right, we do, right on Poplar Avenue, right there at Binghampton, the Binghampton neighborhood. We have a facility where we can house almost 200 volunteers upstairs in dorm housing, as well as a cafeteria to feed them, and a game room, and a chapel room, and our offices and tool shop and all of that.
So you mentioned the critical needs repair. Give us an idea of exactly what that means. So roof repairs, what are some of the things that you're doing with the homeowners?
Yeah, it is a lot of roof repair. We want to address home repair needs that the homeowners are not able to meet on their own. And so we try to tackle those big repairs that are very technical or very expensive. And roofing just happens to be one of the largest problems in the two neighborhoods we work, which is primarily the Binghamton and Heights community, as well as Orange Mound. A lot of older homes with aging roofs, and a leaky roof causes lots of other damage. So yeah, that's the first thing we try to tackle, is making sure that the roof is new. We'll rip off all the old shingles, replace any decking that's needed, put all new roofing material back on, all with volunteers. And then if there are other damage or repairs to help make the home warmer, safer, and drier, we try to address those as well.
And I think a big part of this is transforming neighborhoods. And so you have to see just immense pride and joy with the homeowner once it's complete, but also too, you can look around the neighborhood and you see your work every single day and how it's lifting up the neighborhood. Give us an idea of maybe a success story or some of the things that stand out to you on why the work you do, why it's so important.
Yeah, I mean, so many different things. I think one, it's important for the volunteers that come and serve. They are having their eyes opened to a lot of different things and learning from people in those communities that maybe they would look down upon before, and realizing that there's such richness in these neighborhoods. Even if some of these homeowners don't have the finances to repair their roof, they have so many other things that are beautiful to offer, whether it's sharing their stories or cooking for the groups or whatever it may be. But then in the communities themselves, yeah, we just see houses that look like they were falling apart now having new life breathed into them. We see homes where we've fixed the roof, and now all of a sudden the homeowner is doing yard work again and planting flowers because they feel great about the way their home looks, and that kind of joy spreads within the community. So.
And the other aspect of this is you're teaching these volunteers the skills to be able to go in and fix these homes. Talk about the skills, the training side of this.
Yeah, so we, with all the kids that come in to volunteer, we have to teach them how to re-roof, and that's a big challenge in itself. But we've gotten a lot of feedback from the communities where we serve that they say, we love what you're doing. We're so thankful you're helping these families or these elderly individuals repair their home, but we'd love to see some of our own kids in our community be involved in that, because so many of the churches that come are from outside of Memphis or from outside of the neighborhoods that we work in. And so we've made some efforts to try to recruit students from those communities to be involved. We do that one way through scholarships for a lot of those students to come to camp. And so last year we had over 60 kids from urban neighborhoods in Memphis who came and served a week repairing roofs, many of them in their own neighborhoods.
Nice.
And then in addition to that, we've started an after-school construction training program for urban students in the Binghamton neighborhood in particular. We work with about 15 students, middle school students from Binghamton, and they will design, plan, and build a significant construction project in Binghamton over the course of a school year. Last year they did that with a kind of a play structure, a clubhouse at the Carpenter Art Garden, and there's a plaque on it that has all of their names that they designed it, built it, and put it in. And it's just so cool to see, 11 and 12-year-olds who at the beginning of the year couldn't even name a power tool. At the end of the year, we're assembling this thing using power tools with no assistance from a grown-up. And so we're doing that again this next year. We're actually going to be building a shade pavilion at the Hamp, which is a football field right on Tillman Avenue in Binghamton that's used by Memphis Gridiron Ministries as a football program. You can see it right from Sam Cooper. It's going to be a great asset to the community. It's going to be designed and built by middle schoolers from Binghamton.
Well, and it's real-world application. These are employable skills, so you're teaching them skills that they can make a career out of. It's huge.
Yeah, that's the hope, is that it gives us a vehicle to not only disciple them and love them and mentor them, but also to teach them some real valuable skills that some of them may use one day to go on and be an architect or a builder or a urban planner, whatever the case may be, but using those skills to kind of point them to a career.
So how can we as the public help you?
Lots of different ways. We don't have a ton of on-ramps for volunteers who just want to regularly volunteer. There are a few small opportunities with our after-school program, things like that. But largely, it's helping us get students to come to a week of home repair camp to repair homes. So that could be you as a part of your church bringing a group of students. sharing it with other churches or schools that you know that might want to come, or things like that. And all that can be found on our website, sosmemphis.org. And then also financial is a big part of it. We have to raise a lot of money to repair 40 to 50 homes a year for free. We're doing significant home repair, and all of that has a price tag. So yeah, even just helping us to raise awareness and raise money through donations or otherwise is always a huge benefit as well.
Well, just thinking about the materials alone, so even though you've got the volunteers, but just the shingles and the roofs and everything, all of that,
I mean, we'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars this year alone on materials and things like that for roofing houses. So
wow,
it's a lot of money.
Well, tell viewers one more time the website, where they can find more information about Service Over Self.
Yeah, sosmemphis.org is our website, and then all of our social media handles are at @SOSMemphis. So that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We keep all those pretty up to date, and that's a great place to start.
Well, greatly appreciate everything you're doing to transform our neighborhoods here in the Mid-South, and greatly appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
As we saw in this month's episode, having a safe home encompasses love and support from family, as much as protection and security from the weather and other environmental issues. A safe home allows children to grow and thrive, laugh and learn, play and experience the power of unconditional love, even if the family is not biologically related, like we saw with Palmer Home for Children. Protection from the elements and staying warm, safe and dry can be a challenge for many inner city homeowners. But thanks to the repair and renovation efforts of organizations like Service Over Self and their thousands of volunteers, homeowners can become empowered and see their neighborhoods transformed. Protection also comes from companies like Tioga Environmental Consultants, who make sure that the air we breathe, the homes we live in, and the land we live on remain safe. The key now is for us to become champions for a broader sense of the word home, like with the Mid-South. And let's work together to ensure our whole community is able to enjoy the love and benefits of a safe home. So thank you for watching The Spark. To learn more about each of the guests and to share your stories of others leading by example, visit thesparktv.org. We look forward to seeing you next month, and we hope that you'll join with us in creating a spark for the Mid-South.
Just like having the right information is necessary to make solid hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.
State Systems is focused on protecting life and property. As a local, privately owned company, our foundation was built on providing all businesses with complete fire and security protection and infrastructure cabling. State Systems is proud to be a part of the Mid-South community and a presenting sponsor of The Spark.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.